Do you want to take this to this? Let me show you how. Hi, it's Charity with Fabric Cafe. Today we are going beyond the 3-yard quilt. I have been inspired to look at all of our beautiful patterns that Fran and Donna have come up with, and I have created my own version of some of my favorite blocks being put together in an unexpected way. Let me show you what I did with this idea. So the first quilt that I have for you today is Make It Patriotic Celebrations. I chose, I'm going to call this a pinwheel today. If you have a different name for it, I would love to know. Leave it in the comments. I chose the pinwheel because finished, it is 9 inches. It also includes one of my favorite things is a half square triangle, as well as it has all 3 of our fabrics included. So we get to see all of them, 1, 2, and 3. Let me put it on the table and show you a little bit more. I'm going to show you what this quilt looks like before I start switching things around. So the first fabric I have, it's kind of an unusual fabric for our focal fabric, but it has a lot going on. I love all the different colors, so you really have so much to pick from for your other complementary fabrics. Very unexpected. It's not a typical focal fabric, but I was drawn to it because I just really love bright, tons of colors. Our number 1 fabric, we're going to be finding it here, and we're going to be also having it here. It's really going to pop. Our number 2 fabric, here we are right here. It's really going to highlight our number 1s and our number 3s. Our number 3 fabric, we have a floral. It's kind of I love to combine things that might be different. We have a floral with a kind of a traditional squarish pattern. It really plays so well together because we have so many of the same colors in the 2 fabrics and they go together so well. And we are going to show you a picture of what they look like together and how they work together in such an unexpected way. So as you can see, we have the floral fabric in the number 3 position as that border. It really frames this so well. And I love yellow and sunshine, and it just really pops with that pinwheel. It is such a fun combination, and I want you to check this out. The fabric combination is called Color Pop. This pattern is in Make It Patriotic with the 3-yard quilt book, and an alternative pattern is the Friendship Star. I wanted to keep my kind of coloring out outside the lines in the same book, and I noticed another pattern that really stood out to me in Make It Patriotic. It is the Jubilee pattern. I chose this square, this block, to play with when I started swapping blocks around. Let's put it on the table and look at it a little bit closer. I've picked out a really fun fabric in use of this block that I'm going to kind of steal later. Our first fabric, really a fun butterfly. I think planning this quilt in the middle of winter, I picked fabrics that make me feel like sunshine is coming. It makes me feel like summer is not far off, and just a really fun use of color. So I went with something for my focal fabric that has lots of colors in it, but also a really great green as a foundation. My butterflies are really fun. There's so many colors in it that you can use to support with your additional fabrics. Our number 1 fabric, right here in this block, we also have a number 2. Our number 2 is, again, a yellow one. I really am loving yellow right now. It just gives me sunshine. It makes me feel like the sun is coming out any moment. This yellow is also pulled in right back here at our number 1. We also have it in a lot of different butterflies. So it's really a great supporting fabric to highlight our butterflies. And then our number 3. Here we are again. We're back to flowers. I love flowers. It's almost spring, so why not jump ahead? It is spring here. We have our number 3 fabric. It again has all of these colors in it. All of these colors, it kind of gave me a little bravery to pick fabrics that maybe traditionally might not be thought of going together. We have a lot of colors and they're all kind of the same. So why not? We're gonna be brave today. This is our number 3. It's gonna go in our sash right here. It's gonna go right here. We are gonna see this really pop When I show you the picture, you're gonna love how these come together. It is such a fun green, yellow flowers, butterflies, and this is why we are gonna call it Butterfly Garden. It is the Jubilee pattern, and it also comes from the Make It Patriotic 3-yard quilt book as well. So you get both these patterns in the same book. And the alternative pattern is Jigsaw. So I've showed you both quilts that I want to work with today to get a little outside the lines. And we have taken our Celebrations block and we have taken our Jubilee block D, and the Celebration is block B. Let's put them together and see what they look like. As you can see on the screen, they are combined together. We have 6 different fabrics going on, but yet they all work together. We have our yellows, we have our greens, we have our pinks, we have them all, and they come together so beautifully. So just talking about this, it might sound really confusing, complicated, and a little intimidating. Please don't be intimidated. Follow my 2 simple rules for coloring outside the lines and creating a new quilt. My first rule was make sure that the blocks you're combining are the same finish size. The Celebrations and the Jubilee both have a finished size of 9 inches. I want to keep it simple for myself. The second rule was make sure my blocks stand alone. So when I pull them out of its original quilt, it doesn't need sashes, it doesn't need the additional blocks around it to complete that look. These blocks stand alone by themselves, so I could get crazy and combine them together. I chose to use the borders and the binding from the Jubilee. After combining all of these blocks, we are going to keep the exact same finished size as our traditional 3-yard quilt. You might be asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I combining blocks from different quilts? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have all of the Fabric Cafe pattern books. I love them. What can I do to rethink some of these patterns? It is such a great way to bring a fresh perspective on these 3-yard patterns that we know and love so much. To create this quilt, we're going to need 2 kits of 3 yards or a total of 6 yards. We are going to be creating 12 of each of our blocks. We're creating rows, alternating these blocks. For additional information, we have put together a free goodie detailing all the steps that I made creating this quilt. Please go to our website and check it out. It is waiting for you. So let's look at what I have done with this next quilt. We are going to be building on the information that I gave you with our first quilt, and we're going to be taking it up a notch. Building on the first quilt, we used blocks that can stand alone and that are all 9 inches. So taking that information and going through all of the Fabric Cafe pattern books, I chose my favorite for kind of a scrappy, anything goes quilt. I don't know if you guys, when you're making a 3-yard quilt, you make a test square. You got a test block just to see how it's going. You got to work out the kinks with some of your scrappy fabric so you make sure you're not using the original 3 yards that you have. Work out any kinks. And you have all of these blocks laying around. This is a great use of putting those sample blocks or our scrap piles to use to create something that's so beautiful. And when you put the sashing in between these blocks, it really helps them stand alone and kind of really not matter that you've got a lot of different textures, colors, and patterns going on. And it just creates something so whimsical. We don't actually have any kits of fabric for this particular pattern that I've put together. I do have a free goodie that's going to show you how to put together this look and what blocks I've used, where I rotated some, and how I really put them together with the sizing of your sashing, your borders, as well as your binding. It's all in our free goodie. But I will tell you this, we have fabric by the yard. If you see fabric that stands out, we have fabric by the yard for you to get for this particular quilt. I think to start this quilt, to kind of give yourself guidance and clarity, the best way to start is sorting your fabrics in lights, mediums, and darks. It really helps guide when you're placing fabrics in the 1 position, the 2 position, and the 3 position. If you have them already separated out, it really streamlines the process of putting these blocks together. The next quilt we're going to be working with, starting with I should say, is the Liberty. It is also in the Make It Patriotic. The block that I have picked is really the only block in this quilt. It is this guy right here. I love the traditional start of this pattern with our half square triangles, but we also have this really big pop of our focal fabric, and it gives us so much to work with. Let's take a look at the Liberty quilt before we start moving things around, since this block was my primary inspiration for creating this next quilt. This fabric is so bright, sunshiny, has a little bit of the summer nights feel to it, has the magic sprinkles of summer. This right here, we have got flowers, we have got vines. There is just endless possibilities of what we can put with this. I love the different size flowers. I love the different visual textures of these flowers, all the different colors, and just the movement in this fabric. It is so beautiful when we bring it over here and put it in the Liberty. Now the number 2 fabric that I pick, we're still staying in that magical sunshine, just whimsy fabric. We got little birds and these flowers. We have like almost a little ombre rainbow in our number 2 fabric. It really goes well and it really makes our number 1 pop. When we come to our number 3, we have our garden at night. We've got our beautiful flowers. We've got those dark, rich blues. And when you put it together with our summertime, daytime garden fabric, look how bright and pretty. And we have our pinks and they bring it out here in our number 3. Our number 3 is going to be in all of our little points and arrows and in our complementary blocks surrounding our primary number 1. It really makes that focal fabric pop, but it also brings such attention to those arrows. They really look so beautiful. They're so standalone individually as well as together. It really comes together to make it really eye-catching. This kit is called the Floral Wonderland. The pattern I used is the Liberty. It is found in the Make It Patriotic 3-yard quilt book. An alternative pattern that you could use is Heartland. So with this quilt, starting with our Liberty block, I wanted to do something very unexpected. Let me show you what we did. The Liberty takes the main stage. It is front and center in the middle of this quilt. It is 18 inches, and so all the additional blocks that surround it are 9 inches, just to help with that math and to make it a little easier to put things together. So the blocks I selected to go with the Liberty, I went through all of the Fabric Cafe pattern books. I looked at all of their patterns, looking for that 9-inch, but also looking for blocks that had the same feel as well as something that would highlight my Liberty. The Liberty is so unique. I wanted all of my supporting blocks to really build and lift it up and to create this cohesive, unique look. All of the blocks that I have chosen, there's a total of 4, including the Liberty. All the blocks have half square triangles incorporated into the design. It really unifies the looks. It makes these blocks feel like they are long lost family and they should be together. I think when you're building a quilt like this that's unique, showstopper, kind of breaking all the rules, you need to pick a block that really speaks to you, inspires you, and then build your quilt from there. Find your showstopper and go from there. Let's look at the other blocks in this quilt. The next block I want to bring your attention to is the Dancing Bear block. It really helps keep that size balance so that we don't have just one massive block. We have a lot of size variation in the fabrics used, the blocks used, and this helps frame the Liberty and keep it the star of the show while adding interest as it moves out in our quilts. Not only does it keep those half square triangles going, it also includes all 3 of our fabrics. The next block, this is a pinwheel party. I wanted to create a little space in our quilts so that the focal fabrics, our number 3s and our number 1s, really pops. And this pinwheel gave us some contrast between our number 1 and number 3 so that it really framed, it made our beautiful number 1 fabric, give it space to really stand out and be the star that we were wanting it to be. So this pinwheel party is a great complementary block to surround the Liberty to make sure the Liberty is the star of the show. The pinwheel party is such a fun little whimsy and it has those half square triangles again that I am a huge sucker for. The The last block I chose to really finish out this quilt to create that final lining border is the Flight of Fancy block. I did a little bit switcheroo here because I enjoy these 3 fabrics so much. Instead of having number 3 for our flying geese, I put our number 1 fabric in there. It is just another point of interest for our eyes to be drawn to while highlighting that liberty. It creates such a unique border that brings this whole quilt to a complete picture. Not only did I play with the fabric placement in Flying Geese, I also rotated them. You're gonna see in our free handout, you're gonna see where I rotated a lot of these blocks to create this cohesive look, framing the liberty. To create this show-stopping look, you are gonna need 2 3-yard kits or a total of 6 yards. All the kits you have seen, as well as fabric by the yard, are available at Fabric Cafe. I also have free goodie handouts for each one of these quilts that you have seen today, detailing exactly what I did and where I did it. If you have found inspiration today and you end up making one of these quilts, please send me a picture. I would love to see what you have done and what you create from this inspiration. Please email us at welisten@fabriccafe.com. I have really enjoyed spending the day with you guys. I hope this has inspired you. I hope that you take this and run with it and create your own coloring outside the lines. If you need more inspiration and you are hungry for more ideas, please click on the video that you see above. It's Charity with Fabric Cafe. Happy creating.